Hi, and welcome to This Week in Panther Athletics. I'm your host, Mike Sadler. This week, we're joined by men's basketball head coach Jeremy Coombs to preview the men's basketball team. The season's right around the corner, and we want to take a chance to sit down and talk to him about his team. So, Coach, thanks for joining us this week.
Thank you for having me.
Now, last season, the Panthers finished 12-19, a disappointing season, as I'm sure Coach will attest to, a season where they saw many second-half leads slip away, but it was a very young team last year with DeMarco Smith, a lone returner, who played some minutes as a freshman, but not a lot of experience. This year, actually get some experience back. We've got Jamie Badish, who led the conference in three-point field goal percentage. He was your second leading scorer last year. Devontae Garland averaged 9 points, 2 assists a game as a freshman. And Justin Dunmar's played meaningful minutes, was kind of a lockdown defender for you. So how will having that experience help you this season? Talk a little bit about your returners.
Well, obviously having that sophomore leadership is going to be very important. And those guys that you mentioned are some really good leaders for our program at this point in time. In fact, 3 of those guys are team captains, and so that's gonna really help us down the stretch. But just having somebody that's been through the battle, been through the trenches before, and kind of knows what the Jayhawk is about is going to help us down the stretch. And that'll help with the freshmen that are coming in that don't really know about the Jayhawk and what it takes to be successful in this conference.
And one of those captains you talked about is redshirt freshman Brett Franz from Lawrence, Kansas, missed last year with an injury. So how does having him back, how will that help you?
Well, he's a kid that would have started for us at the 2 spot last year. Had to sit out with a medical redshirt, and he's just a fantastic player all around. He's a smart basketball player. He knows how to play the game. He shoots the ball extremely well, which would have helped us a ton last year. But he was here once he could get back on the floor. He was out there practicing with the guys, so he knows the system, knows what we do, so it's not as if he wasn't just because he didn't play. It wasn't like he wasn't here. He knows exactly what it's about as well, and so it just kind of gives you that extra person. And obviously, he's a very talented basketball player, so that'll help as well.
So it's kind of a transition as we talked briefly about Badish and Garland, the Dunmars, some of your sophomores. Fran's been through it. Now, where you're going to be really new this year is at the point guard position. No matter who plays at the point will be a new player for you. Whole new front court. Now you got a couple guys who've had some college experience or have been in the program. So talk a little bit about your newcomers. Who do you look for at the point guard position, and talk about your front court?
Well, we spent a lot of time. We really felt like the point guard spot is one of the most important positions out on the floor. There are our floor generals, are the guys that put us in the right places, get us in our offenses and things like that. So we really needed to have somebody or a couple of them that could really play. We were lucky enough to get 4 guys we feel like can play the point guard spot. But the good thing about those guys is they all shoot the ball very well, and we can also play them at the 2 spot. So at times we can actually play 2 point guards. But we went out and got a kid out of Indiana, Monroeville, Indiana, who was a very good program, and got B.J. Jenkins, who's a kid that'll probably start for us at the point guard spot. Extremely talented, probably a mid-major to potentially a high-major player when it's all said and done. But really shoots the ball well. He's a great floor general, puts guys in the right position. He makes everybody around him better. We've got Jonathan Honore from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, who is kind of a little bit the opposite of BJ in the fact that he's more conservative on the floor, just a really solid point guard. Does everything right, nothing flashy. But really gets the job done. And then we got 2 young Kansas kids, and Tyson Downing, who's a very good point guard. He's going to be a good player for us. And Deshaun Terrell from Wichita, who's a blur on the floor and plays exactly how we want to play and really fast.
Good. And that's the way you want to play is something that now having some sophomores, you really start to get that identity. Now, one thing that'll be interesting for fans they watch this year is the Jayhawk is taking on a different look. Some familiar foes for Jayhawk fans have now made a move to Division II. There's been some shuffling, so Butler comes over to the East now after spending years in the West. There's fewer teams in Jayhawk Division I on the East. So how does the new schedule play out? How does it help you? How does it hurt you? What do you look for this year?
Well, I think there's going to be less conference games. That's one, just because there's not as many in the East as there usually are, and So, you have more non-conference games, but what I think it did is it really made the East stronger. Some of those games where, there were some teams that we haven't lost to, or maybe we've lost to one time in my time here. We don't play them this year. And so, adding Butler to this side, Butler has a very good team. In fact, I can see them, being up in the top of the conference very easily. But they just adds depth to the conference and strength. And so, every night's going to be a battle in the East. It just made us a lot stronger, and it'll be a lot of fun.
I know it'll definitely put a premium on every conference win with only 12 games. Letting one slip that you should can definitely hurt you. The regular season's right around the corner. We played some preseason games. You've gotten some experience, so getting a look at the team. When can the fans get their first actual look at you?
Well, we'll be here on the 1st of next month. We open up with Ottawa University, as we have done for the last 7 years. But they'll give them a look and kind of see what we're about. Obviously, we've got a lot of size and a lot more talent this year. We played last night at Heston and played a pretty good team over there and scored 108 points. So this team's going to put the ball up. We're going to score a ton of points. We press the entire game, so we get a lot of easy buckets. And so it's going to be an exciting year for us and exciting for the fans to watch.
So after a down year last year, things are looking bright for the men's basketball team this year. Appreciate Coach Coombs taking the time out of his schedule to come sit down and talk with us. That'll do it for this edition of This Week in Panther Athletics. Join us next week when we talk with head women's basketball coach J.J. Davis and preview the women's basketball team. So for Mike Seidler and Jeremy Coombs, thanks, and we'll see you next week.